Dijonai Carrington.
The league doesn't step up and protect her, things are going to get ugly real fast.
Anybody that does something flagrant to this young lady for what she's brought to the game should be suspended and fined big time.
It's happening right now, and it's got the whole basketball world talking. Steph Curry just dropped some shocking comments about how Angel... Quick question before we dive in. Have you ever watched an athlete get singled out game after game the way Sophie Cunningham has? It's hard to ignore. Something happened during that Chicago Sky matchup that completely changed how Steph Curry sees the WNBA. And what he said next. It's putting Dijonai Carrington in a really tough spot. Here's the thing. Steph Curry knows rough play when he sees it. Back when he was tearing up the league, other players couldn't keep up with his skill. So, some tried to rattle him physically instead. He's seen it all. That's exactly why his words carry so much weight here. And that's when things got interesting for Dijonai Carrington. Steph looked at what's happening to Sophie Cunningham and drew a hard line between real competitive basketball and something else entirely. His exact words, he called it the most cowardly thing he's seen.
The WNBA is the gift that keeps on giving. The latest is a clothesline foul on Sophie Cunningham by Dijonai Carrington, the woman that went on an incredibly racist rant against cab driver and, of course, knocked the hell out of Caitlin Clark from behind her rookie year. But that's okay. I'm not mad at that kind of basketball. That's all good. But the problem is after. It was white privilege. White girl goes to the basket. African-American woman knocks her on her ass, clothesliner, knocks her down, upgraded to a flagrant 2.
So Steph Curry saw the replay. Dijonai Carrington shoving Sophie Cunningham from behind while she was still recovering from getting poked in the eye. And Curry didn't hold back. Here's a guy who battled some of the toughest enforcers the NBA ever saw. Dennis Rodman, Bill Lemire, you name it. If anyone knows what real competitive fire looks like, it's him. And even Curry drew the line at what Carrington did. Real defense is one thing. Sneaking a hit on someone when they're not even looking. That's something else entirely. Curry pointed out that back in his toughest years in the league, guys never waited for your back to be turned. They came at you face to face like competitors. That's what stung him most about this whole situation. Before we go further, if you're enjoying this, drop a like and subscribe. Now back to the story. What really got under Curry's skin wasn't just the shove. It was what came after. Instead of owning up to it, Carrington played the victim, complaining about unfair criticism instead of admitting she crossed a line. And that reaction, it made Curry even more frustrated because real legends, real winners, they take responsibility, especially when their actions put another player at risk. Curry said watching Carrington dodge accountability reminded him of players who know deep down they can't compete at the top level, so they find other ways to get an edge. In other words, Curry basically called it out for what it is. A player leaning on cheap tactics instead of leveling up her actual game. But here's where things get interesting. Curry also opened up about what makes Sophie Cunningham special. He sees the same qualities in her that made him a legend. Sharp basketball IQ, clutch shooting, and that rare ability to lift her teammates up. But it worries him that instead of just playing her game, she has to keep watching her back for cheap shots. According to Curry, that's the real problem here. Some players choose to target Cunningham instead of putting in the work to match her skill and going after her when she's already vulnerable. That's exactly what Curry called the most disappointing thing he's seen in competitive basketball. Naturally, his comments set the whole basketball world talking. Curry didn't just compare this to his own battles on the court. He made sure to highlight what makes Cunningham's situation even tougher. At just 24 years old, she's dealing with more pressure than most players face in an entire career.
It was a hard foul. I don't think that Dijonai intentionally came out to get her across the neck like she did, but it did happen, and I thought it was the right call. But, you know, one of the things about Nay is that she's going to play her butt off, man. She's going to compete. Nobody's going to go walking in for a layup. And so I don't oppose the hard foul, but I also don't think that she intentionally went for the neck.
Now, here's where Curry's comments really took off online, and honestly, they hit different. He said something simple but powerful. If the WNBA keeps letting players go after their stars without any consequences, it sends the wrong message. It tells average players they can stay relevant through dirty tactics instead of actually improving their game. And that, Curry warns, is a dangerous road for the league to go down. One that punishes the very players trying to raise the bar. He didn't stop there either. Curry said letting the stuff slide isn't just bad for the players, it's bad for the kids watching at home. Instead of learning about skill, hard work, and respect for the game, they're learning how to target an opponent instead of outplay them. But maybe the most powerful part of everything, Curry said, his prediction for Sophie Cunningham's future. He believes all this adversity isn't going to break her, it's going to build her. Every cheap shot, every dirty play, every attempt to shake her. According to Curry, it's only making her hungrier to prove herself the right way through pure skill. He even compared it to his own rookie year when defenders tried to physically wear him down every single game. But he pointed out that Cunningham's situation is even tougher. She's dealing with all this while also being the most marketable face in the entire league. And that's exactly why Curry's support matters so much here. He's not just standing up for one player. He's standing up for what basketball is supposed to be about. Skill, vision, class, and real competitive spirit. In his eyes, that's everything Sophie Cunningham represents. And what someone like Dijonai Carrington represents, the exact opposite. Curry made it clear the WNBA is at a turning point. They can either protect their brightest stars and let them shine, lifting the whole league up in the process, or keep letting shady tactics slide and risk dragging everything down. So now the real question is out there. Will the WNBA actually listen to Steph Curry's warning? Or will players keep getting away with this kind of behavior? Let us know what you think in the comments. Is Curry being too harsh, or is he saying exactly what needed to be said? Do you think the league will finally step up to protect its biggest stars? And if you want more breakdowns like this, the kind that cut through the noise and get to what's really going on, hit subscribe and turn on notifications.
See what happens next.
This story
types of kind of dirty fouls, so to speak. This is the same player that poked Caitlin Clark in the eye with her long-ass fingernails last year. Take a look.
This clip is going viral of Caitlin Clark getting poked in the eye by Dijonai Carrington. It happened in the first quarter when Clark tried passing the ball to her teammate Aaliyah Boston, but Carrington poked Clark in the eye while trying to deflect the pass. No foul was called, but Clark had to take a second to regain her composure. In the third quarter, Dijonai was defending Caitlin again when Caitlin hit Dijonai in the head, knocking out one of her contacts. No foul was called, but Dijonai had to take a second to
games is going to be watched closely. Every hard play will get replayed. Every officiating decision will be questioned. And every single game adds another chapter to what's shaping up to be one of the most talked about seasons in WNBA history. So, here's the real question everyone wants answered. Do you think Steph Curry's comments actually reflect what's really happening in this league? Do you think the WNBA is doing enough to protect its stars while still allowing real physical competitive basketball? And where do you think this leaves things for the league, for the player under fire, and for Sophie Cunningham going forward? I genuinely want to know what basketball fans think about all this. So, drop your thoughts down in the comments. This community thrives on respectful conversation, and who knows, your take might even show up in a future breakdown. As we get close to wrapping up the story, one thing is crystal clear. This conversation is far from over. What started as one controversial moment on the court has turned into a much bigger discussion about accountability, respect, fair competition,